Well, back to work Monday, huh? So, unfortunately, we had an employee that had to call out. He has to go get tested for COVID now because he's not sure if he got it or not, which led to me going home to get my Snap-On Zeus to bring it to work to try to diagnose this car. Only thing is, check engine light's not on. But upon power up, didn't realize that I shut it down inappropriately, and as a result, this is what happened. So I haven't turned this thing on in probably a couple months, and it's like it lost the hard drive or something. All right, so we're back up and running. From what Snap-on Diagnostics told me was that this thing wasn't powered off correctly, so it was in sleep mode and it had died. And then I had plugged it into the charging dock station so it would charge back up last night. Well, it didn't boot up properly, so you have to have a keyboard that you plug in here onto the side and the USB port, and then you hit enter. And once you hit enter, everything powers up as if it was normal again. All right, so we're heading back to the shop right now. Look, I did promise you guys that we would do a follow-up review of first impressions of this SP under hood light. Did not feel like I had enough first impression data to give my first impression since I was only at work for a half a day on Thursday. So as soon as I got to work, I powered it up. Let's go ahead, take a look at this thing, and I'll share with you some of my thoughts and opinions about it. This is the Saber 2 brightness, and this is the adjustable setting to dim it down between 1,000 and 500 lumens. All right, this is the SP Tools light. This is 1,000. This is 500 lumens. 1,000, 500. All right, told you guys we were gonna check out this SP under hood light and go side by side with the Saber 2. Gonna show you some features of both that you may like one over the other. So let's take a look. All right, first thing that I noticed that was kind of a dislike, this side's not adjustable. So wherever you have that light in relation to the hood work, that is exactly where it is. See how it's more on this side, but it does spread the light out quite a bit considering that it's way over here and not evenly distributed like the Saber 2. Let's go ahead and go with the Saber 2. Profile wise, you can see that the SP is definitely a lower profile, but you can adjust the Saber 2 to be almost even with it across, or if you want it to hang down more, you can pull this down to where it touches the hood. It does rotate. You can see my zip ties holding it together here where the case has been split. You can rotate this, and surprisingly enough, I didn't think I was going to be able to rotate much because of how close it is to the hood, but you can rotate it a little bit. I would have liked a little bit more articulation. Okay, so there's the 500, and then for the adjustable on the Saber 2, it's right here. It's a little button. Let's turn the SP off for a second. Okay, so 1,000, 500, 1,000, 500. Okay, we're gonna go off. 1,000, 500, 1,000, 500, and that's what the SP. Thing that I like about it is that I don't have a cord hanging off. Now, this is something I've been dealing with for a while, just kind of got used to it, but it never dies. That's the plus. The minus is when I go up with the lift. Oftentimes I'm squishing the cable when I set the car back down because I'm setting it down on the cable, not paying attention or forgetting to pull it out of the way. Also, it'll drag across the fender, so you're gonna want a fender liner. In this case, I don't. I'm showing you as a reference. Oh yeah, it's about that time, ladies and gentlemen. Get back to the house. Hey, how's it going, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Cheers to those of you that have your beers. Hope you're having a wonderful kickstart to the work week after your little holiday, if you had one following Christmas, right? Today, not so bad, kind of a little bit slow. We do have one guy that's kind of out of work right now, not sure when he's gonna come back.
But let's go ahead and go into my thoughts about this SP under hood light. Couple of changes that I would make is, one, I would like to have the light a little bit more centered from side to side. Maybe they can make the one end telescopic a little bit more out instead of it just being fixed to the actual handle. The second thing I'd like to see is a little bit more articulation as far as being able to rotate the light, because if you're going to have that low profile and be against the hood or that close to the hood, you're still going to want some articulation. Didn't seem to be such a big deal because obviously the light did spread out pretty good. But I did notice that there was more light on one side than the other. As a result, you'd have to flip-flop it. And again, you could only rotate up, really not so much back. So those would be two changes that I would make. As far as runtime, thing ran a long time. I think I had it fired up for about 4 hours on Thursday, and then I had it running for about 4 or 5 hours today. So about 8 hours runtime on a full charge. Charge time. Okay, so this is the part I didn't get a chance to pay that much attention to after I plugged it in. If I had to take a guess, I'd say it takes about anywhere between 1 and 2 hours. I say that because I went and I plugged it in, I got a little bit busy, I think a couple hours had passed and I came back to the light and it was charged and ready to go again. So was it charged at 1 hour? Was it charged at 2? I don't know. I'd literally have to sit there with a stopwatch and wait and see like every half hour on the half hour. And in this case, I just don't have time to do that. So I can tell you anywhere between an hour and 2 hours it takes for it to fully charge, because I went over, like I said, and it was fully charged and ready to go. Let's talk about battery charge in cold weather. How well do batteries hold up in cold weather? Not really good, okay? That's my experience. Some batteries hold up a little bit better in cold weather than others, but usually those are the bigger batteries. Prime example would be I had a Snap-on battery from the 14.4 lineup that was about half-life. I left for 3.5 days, came back dead, right? It was red. It was ready to go on the charger. So I put it back on the charger, still charged up relatively quick, about that 1 hour time frame, 45 minutes to an hour, and I was ready to rock again. Same thing with the Matco batteries, okay? I think I had one that was probably under 50% and was pretty much dead. I barely got any use before I had to charge it. But the battery that I didn't use that was already fully charged from Thursday was still ready to rock and ready to go, and it had full life. The DeWalt battery, which I haven't charged probably in about a week, was just on its last cell, so I had plugged it in. And it also went from a 3.5 day weekend plus using it throughout the work week prior. So for that, I'm gonna say the DeWalt 20 volt battery held up really, really well. Okay, so for it sitting plus using it, it lasted a week still. So I didn't have any problems there. Going over to the Hercules one, so I used the heat gun intermittently throughout the beginning of the week going into the weekend, but today when I went to grab it to use it, it was dead. So not sure how much it was actually used. I wouldn't say very much. If anything, I'd say it probably had at least 50% cell life left on the battery going into the holiday, and then come back to it having one cell. So certain batteries are going to die a little bit faster from sitting in colder weather than others. And then of course, cold weather operation could also cause that battery to die out a little bit faster than others as well. With the more expensive stuff, I'll let you guys know as the cold weather precedes us, because it was 36 this morning and it was about 39, then it was about 44 and 45, then it came back down to about 39. So we'll see how the next work week goes in this cold weather, and just see how frequently I have to charge these batteries and which ones that I find myself charging the most throughout one working week. I'd like to hear your guys' feedback on batteries in cold weather. For those of you that not only work in the mechanic field but also construction, have you noticed the difference between the smaller batteries to the bigger batteries? And have you noticed the charge time delay as a result of cold weather as well? Or do you find yourself charging them more and more and more? The other thing I'd like to know is if those of you that actually own the SP Tools under hood light, how do you like it so far? How long have you had it? Have you had any issues with it? Those are some things we'd like to know. If you would like to save 10% off, please feel free to check the description. Go to sptoolsusa.com. You get a 10% discount code when you type in SP Cheers, and I'll put those links down below in the description for you as well. Guys, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed today's content, keeping it short and sweet. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.